I leave the TV on, I'm done with your sad eyes. I can't take another night with you on like this.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ndiege. If this is the very first time you're seeing my face, if you're coming back however and this is your second or third or fourth video, I hope you've already subscribed. My analytics show that about 64% of you are yet to subscribe. So guys, let's tip that balance. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, share this content. It really supports my channel. So today's video is partly inspired by one of you in the comments on my last video. That video had a lot of love where I was talking about what to do before you move out, and one of you left a comment with regard to one of the points that I gave in terms of budget, and this was about you should use or you should spend a third or less than a third of your salary on rent and I guess utilities. So this was a tough question because budget means different things to different people. Some people have a bigger budget than others, and others have a much lower budget than yourself. So today's video I'm gonna be talking about budget places to live within, or for you to look toward. I'm gonna talk about budget places for you to live in Nairobi. So on the second part, I also happened on a video by one of your favorite influencers, and they were talking about having to live in a specific low budget area before they got married, and they didn't like it because it come from a particularly suburban background. That didn't sit well with me. I think I'm going to start with first saying that live where you can until you live where you have to until you can live where you want to. That's very important. You're already doing an adult thing, so I think don't let anyone dull your shine if you live in a particular address that doesn't suit their standards. Live according to your own standards, and very importantly, below your means. Okay, so the first thing, or the first area that I would be looking at if I'm looking for a budget area is, and this is the best kept secret, it's live outside of Nairobi. So we're blessed in such a way that we have a very good transport system where we can take a matatu to work every morning despite the massive amount of traffic. We take about maybe an hour and 45 minutes to an hour and a half in traffic if you live in some of these areas, and Kiambu County is in such close proximity to Nairobi that you can actually get budget housing. So some areas that offer budget housing in Kiambu County would be places like Ruaka, Lokabete, Kikuyu, Kino, Thiru 87. All those areas will potentially give you, if you look in all these areas, you might get somewhere that's a bit of a village setup, but it's absolutely peaceful and absolutely amazing rent. So take this area and just go look for houses. Be open to finding a house in this area. Now you can also look at places like, I think, Ndiege as well, that's in Kiambu, or on Kiambu Road. You also have people that live in Limuru and Murang'a that commute to work every day. Don't be afraid to move out. Don't be afraid to move further out of the city in order for you to find cheap accommodation. So secondly, if you still want to live within Nairobi and still live on a budget, then an area like Roysambu, look for a student targeted area. So an area like Roysambu, Lumumba Drive and Charim Drive are very famous for giving budget housing because they have to provide for the need. Somewhere like Kahawendani and I think the outskirts of Kahasukari are also offering budget housing options because of having KU near them. And then when you extend the sides of Parklands and towards, like, if you have the Choir Rongai, towards Choir you have Rongai, which is also close to or near a student area. Towards in town you have South B, South C. Some parts of it have budget housing, so you just look in those areas first as well if you still want to maintain a Nairobi address. A Nairobi address basically. The third thing is that if your address is absolutely important for whatever reason, I mean, I know there's people who just want to tell or to say they live in a particular area because of the kind of people they're looking to attract, or perhaps the people they work with, or whatever reason, get a roommate. So one thing you might not know about the expat community is that they're very, very open to living with people, because they often emigrate quite a bit into many countries, and for them acquiring pieces of furniture and all that is tough. So what they do is they'll get these specific areas in Nairobi, particularly Kilimani, Kileleshwa, Westlands around Mutangari. So Westlands, inside of Westlands and around Mutangari, where there's a thriving expat community, and they prefer to live with roommates. So granted, the rent might be higher than, say, if you're going to pay between 15 or 8 or whatever, 8,000 or whatever. It's gonna be slightly higher for a room. Please note that in this case, you're actually paying for a room, not necessarily the house, but you do get to keep your address, and you do get to, I guess, shine if that's what you're looking for. The thing with this, however, is that it also comes with its own set of challenges. So if you're looking to, I like to look at the moving process as a progressive thing. So if you start wherever you start, then over time you're acquiring your own things. So be it electronics, be it furniture, you're growing over time, and you're working towards potentially moving into your own house, or buying a house, or building a house. I don't know what suits you. And when you're renting a room, it's kind of hard to do these things, because it's hard for me personally. I don't like to be in excuse me I don't like to be in a disorganized space. So when you imagine starting to buy off stuff in your house, and then you're sleeping in a room, and there's a fridge looking at you, and there's a ward looking at you, like there's just a bunch of stuff piling up in the background. It's not a bad thing if the room is big, like say it's a bed sitter and there's like designated spaces, but if it's just a small bedroom that's meant to only have a bed, then it's kind of difficult for you to have that piece of, you know, just freedom to just move around and enjoy your space. Then the other thing is, you have to be those people who are very, very respectful of people's private space. You cannot be found in your roommate's room going through their stuff. You cannot be eating their food. They will, like, literally you would be dying of hunger 3 a.m. and they left a packet of, or they left some takeout. Don't eat it. Like, people are very, very touchy about their food. Just don't eat it. You have to be very, very respectful of their spaces as well. You have to clean up after yourself a lot. You probably have to come up with a schedule to do chores, which I'm not particularly happy about, being told to do chores on a schedule. I feel like that's why I moved out of home. Let me just find it in myself to be responsible enough to do these chores because I want to do them. Then yeah, so there's just a lot of rules with that, but it's still an amazing option, and it's a viable option. So there's also starting out in a bed sitter or a studio, or what else is a name for a single room? Yes, in the Kenyan context. Sorry. So this is one of the most underrated ways of starting life. Many people have this. I think it's a very famous meme of how we start life, and it's literally a room with a mattress and a stove, a paraffin stove, and that's it. And I think a stool or a basin or something, and one cooking pan. And it's underrated because you start somewhere. I think the first step you need to do is congratulate yourself. You're actually moving out. You've taken a step to do something in adulthood. So we don't all have to start in the same place, and we don't all have to start off with a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom house or a fully furnished house. We are all different. So it's very, very important that you realize for your own self or for your own good, that starting off in a bedsitter is just as good as starting off anywhere for whatever reason. So don't be afraid to look at areas such as Eastlands. In the Kasarani area, you have places such as Santon. Others are not coming to mind immediately. So South B also has bedsitters, but the prices of this change or vary within the areas. You'll have some that are under 10,000. You also have some in Kino 87. You'd have some in Mimuto. You'd have some single rooms in basically, I think, every area that I've mentioned before. So your Rakas, your Thindigwas, your Kikuyus will all have the option of a bed sitter. Then you can also do this You can also get a studio or a SQ in Langata or Kile. Like, it's just wherever, as long as it fits your budget. You should be able to find something that's between, maybe I want to say between 8,000 to 17,000. These days I'm seeing them going up slightly, to about 17,000 in any of these areas. So just walk around, ask. The thing about this, and I remember some time back, my friends and I were sharing our first moving experiences, our first time moving experiences, and it was hilarious because my friend said she used to live in an SQ, and the rent that she paid, I think she lived in an SQ in Lavington, and anytime her dates dropped her off, they're like, this girl lives at such a big house. And her dates did not know is that she used to go all the way to the back to access her house, and she paid such a minuscule rent, but it made sense for her, for what she wanted in her life then. So don't be afraid to look in any of these areas if you want a specific address but don't necessarily have that budget. So just keep your size small, start small, buy your stuff, and then eventually when you're ready to move to a bigger space, you can move to a bigger space. So that said, that's all my points for today. I hope within all these areas you managed to see or to identify somewhere that suits your specific need. I'm not able to do any more house hunting videos in the moment just because of Corona and all that. I'd really love to get back to it as soon as we're back from this, but I'd like to point you towards Miss Kinywa's channel. She's doing some amazing house hunting videos, so those should help you find something that's within your budget. And she's been able to feature quite a bit of the budget housing places. She also has Donholm. She has some places from Donholm. She has some places in Rwaka. She has some places, I think, in Imaradaima, where you can also look if you want a virtual tour of some places that exist and are currently looking. And then she also has some high-end places, so you'll find your kileleshwas as well on her channel. So guys, let me know in the comments below if any of those, if you'd recommend any other budget area that people can live in, and if you live in a specific area, please go down in the comments below. Drop how much rent is in your area for number 1, a bed sitter, number 2, a 1-bedroom, and number 3, a 2-bedroom house. Let other people just kind of find this space in the comment section as somewhere useful where they can just get leads to places that they want to live in. And also, if you can, let me know where you first lived, where your first house was, and I'll be happy to talk to you next time on, I don't know what I'll be talking about. Guys, subscribe please, just subscribe.
With you on like this, so let's